As we approach the 20th birthday of a democratic South Africa, transformation has become an integral part of the lives of all South Africans. The concept of building our rainbow nation is as relevant and crucial now as it was for us on the day we all watched former President Nelson Mandela speak freely for the first time as a citizen and leader of this country from the balcony of Cape Town City Hall on 11 February 1990. As one of the defining issues of our time, transformation is very emotive and complex. Just as they were victims of the injustices of the past, so do some people feel victimized by the addressing of those injustices. Addressing the imbalances our society is faced with in a fair and equitable way is a fine balancing act. But difficult as it may be, it's a responsibility that none of us can shy away from. As a nation, we have emerged from a past characterized by a complete disregard for the well-being of the majority of our people. The deliberate efforts to benefit a minority of our people at the expense of the majority have left scars that, even 2 decades later, are still vivid. One of the legacies of our past is the fact that even today, some people are facing barriers to employment that they will not be able to overcome on their own. As human beings and as a business, we at Telesure are called upon to do all within our power to level the playing field. We cannot stand around idly while this inequality exists, believing that it is somebody else's responsibility to resolve the issue. We must and do take it upon ourselves to dismantle the artificial barriers that still keep so many talented people from realizing their true potential. At Telesure, we accept that transformation is both a business necessity and a moral obligation, brought about by 3 simple imperatives. Let's ask Professor L.T. Links from the University of Stellenbosch, a transformation expert and chairman of our Social and Ethics Committee, to tell us more about them.
Apartheid, as we all know, was a period that saw the emergence of segregation at about every level, every opportunity in life. While the days of group areas and racially segregated amenities, housing are behind us, the effects are still very much felt. Some people feel this much more than other people. The imbalances within the economy, within the country, are still felt and seen by everyone. I would say we have a moral duty, ethical conscience to help to correct these imbalances, these mismatches. There are a few things more demoralizing than wealth and poverty coexisting side by side. And in South Africa, the divide between the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor, is sometimes referred to as the worst in the world. And within our company, we have people who live in informal settlements, informal housing. They depend on public transportation. These same people work alongside those who live in houses, formal, I wouldn't say mansions, but very close to it sometimes. And they have to work together. Roughly 1/3 of our children, for instance, grow up in households that earn less than 1,000 rands per month. We have a social duty to empower our employees, to enable their children to reflect more fully the potential that they have. Most South Africans would agree with me that, these two imperatives that we just spoke of are theirs. They can associate with those, they agree with those. But then there's a third one, and that is a very vital one. As a result of South Africa's history that we all know, we have very, very high unemployment. We have then an economic duty to create and, as it were, sustain that growth so as to make it possible for those at the bottom rung to reach out and dream about the future, a future where they can participate in. Transformation is dependent on economic growth. Opportunities are dependent on economic growth.
So how does Telesure plan to contribute to national and organizational initiatives that will lead to transformation? Moving transformation from theory into practice requires an intent, a desire to transform. We at Telesure, driven by the imperatives Professor Link spoke about, have formalized our statement of intent around transformation. It reads as follows: Telesure is committed to unleashing the individual potential of every employee. Furthermore, as a participant in the South African economy, the management of Telesure undertakes to contribute towards the principle of transformation by employing a workforce that is fully representative of the South African population. This will be done by actively and deliberately pursuing and building a pool of suitably qualified black talent for employment. Employment processes will be biased towards black candidates without compromising on competency. Notwithstanding this, internal promotion will be pursued on the basis of the best person for the job. So, we have a theoretical framework and a formal statement of intent. The next step is to apply the theory in practice. Let's ask Telesure MD Tom Creamer to explain what Telesure does in practice to give substance to the theory and intent.
In order to give substance to the theory of transformation, we have put in place a policy framework that will give us the means to translate transformation into practice. This is key in order for us to be successful on our program. To start with, we formed a transformation committee whose function it is to operationalize the concept of transformation within Telesure. We also created the Employment Equity Numerical Plan to serve as guidance for achieving employment equity in Telesure. The plan sets numerical targets that have been agreed to by all the stakeholders involved. These targets are set over a period of 5 years, and the plan requires that we report on progress made to both the internal EE committee and the National Department of Labour, so some great accountability happening. And then there's the implementation plan to implement the targets set in the numerical plan. This plan has been the catalyst behind several internal projects such as the Leaders for the Future program, Project Harambee, which I'm sure a number of you have heard of, and the creation of a junior management talent pool where especially talented black individuals are identified and nurtured for future internal opportunities. The EE Committee is responsible for the monitoring of transformation initiatives within Telesure. Committee members are able to address issues regarding transformation within the workplace or escalate them for attention of the committee. Committee members are also responsible for the promotion of the principle of transformation amongst employees in the workplace. The Social and Ethics Committee guides us strategically on transformation issues. Representatives of this committee include the most senior of Telesure's staff, as well as a collection of external individuals who serve as non-executive directors. They will ensure accountability. The committee is chaired and led by Professor L.T. Links, who you heard from a little earlier, who has considerable experience with transformation, and we're really happy to have him on board. The committee meets every quarter, and its mandate includes monitoring the progress of the various initiatives. We are committed to managing stakeholder efforts around transformation, which includes reporting and monitoring its broad-based Black economic empowerment efforts, and reports against Telusure's transformation triangle. We call this the Telesure journey, and it consists of several initiatives. This involves developing non-employees in order to strengthen the basic employability of our citizens, as well as contributing to basic needs such as healthcare, poverty alleviation, and housing. The principal focus for Telesure is on education, since we believe that through building the skills pool in the country, we are teaching people to fish for themselves. Did you know an estimated 82% of businesses in South Africa do not survive their first 5 years in operation? A frightening stat. To help reduce this trend, we are developing an extensive program to support the emerging suppliers and entrepreneurs in our value chain. This is where we believe we can have a very significant impact. We support our suppliers in developing their business and BEE capacity, favoring local supply as far as our business model allows. Through this, we aim to ensure that these entities will be empowered to play a meaningful role in the economic mainstream over time. Attracting and retaining talent is a key issue for our organization. Telesure believes in employing the best person for the job, but it is also critical that our personnel base is diverse enough to allow us to truly understand all our clients. But having said all of this, transformation is about more than just race or language. We are also committed to making an important contribution towards gender equity. We have introduced a gender equity policy, which aims to promote understanding of the principles around gender equity within Telesure and provides guidelines for the implementation of programs that will help us improve our gender equity.
Our society has been founded on ideas, some good, some not so good. We need to continuously re-evaluate those ideas, keep the ones that work, and have the courage to discard the ones that don't. Doing so will challenge us to constantly reinvent ourselves, to stay relevant in this ever-changing world. South Africa today is a vastly different country to what it was 20 years ago, but the struggle for economic and social equity is far from over. If we are to make headway in our desire to create a truly equitable business environment, we must challenge ourselves to take the time to understand the country we live in and the issues it is facing in order to understand what our unique contribution might be. Ultimately, our success will stem from our ability to share the unique skills all of us have. If each and every Telesure employee commits to teaching a colleague in some way, we will be taking the first steps in the journey to becoming the best we can be. So, each one, teach one, and take that bold step into a better future for all.